So welcome everybody to the podcast, What Fuels You? I am Dr. Rosemary McCormick DePasque, and thank you for being here today. And today we have Dr. Irene Gold with us and Randi Cohen. We are blessed by both of them. So I am going to just start with Dr. Gold's bio, and then I'm going to read Randi's bio, and then we're going to move right into a wonderful interview today. So Dr. Irene Gold is an RN, BS, MA, DC, who was elected Regent of the Year by Sherman College of Chiropractic on June 19th, 2019, for her recognition of outstanding and continuous advancement of Sherman College through participation on the college's Board of Regents. And she graduated from Columbia Institute of Chiropractic, which is now known as New York Chiropractic College, 1974, and then taught in several colleges, Columbia Institute being one of them, Sherman College being another, Pennsylvania College of Straight Chiropractic another, and during her time at Sherman College also served as an academic dean. So after meeting and marrying Reggie Gold, who was also one of the profession's most dedicated and outspoken chiropractors and philosophers, is when Dr. Gold, who was an RN at the time, also decided to become a chiropractor. Thankful for all of us in chiropractic that you did, because Gold taught the National Board exam reviews classes for several years before formally establishing the Irene Gold Associates in 1978, which teaches the chiropractic board reviews parts 1 through 4 and Chiro PT and something known as Spectrum. I don't even know what that is. What is that, Dr. Gold?
PT.
Oh, it's PT. Okay, so it was listed as something separate. Okay.
A subject I know nothing about, but I can teach it to others.
Well, that's fantastic. Not many people can say that. I love that. So let's go with Randi Cohen's bio. Born and raised in Long Island, New York, moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 1975.
No, she's talking about me.
Oh, yeah. I thought to myself,
I'm giving you credit for Randi.
That's true. We're both New Yorkers, so it's okay.
That's true. Earned an art education and an early education degree, taught pre-K, met Dr. Neil Cohen in 1979, brought him to the chiropractor for the first time, and then he decided to become one. The two married in 1982, so they're married 38 years. Congratulations. Was a CA for a Life Chiropractic College instructor, and then was a CA in another chiropractic office where Dr. Neil associated, correct?
Right.
And then was the CA office manager for their own office for 20 years, during which time they had 3 amazing kids. Brian, who is now a self-employed entrepreneur, Dr. Sarah, who practices in Greenville, South Carolina, Dr. Michael, who is in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, and you've got a new daughter-in-law, Jenilyn, and your first grandchild's coming along in a few weeks. That's wonderful. Just a few more side notes where we start to connect Randi with Dr. Gold. So Randi mentioned to me that she absolutely loved and still loves the Sherman College students, and that knew many of them before they even became Sherman College students, which I love that. You actually miss guiding them and feeding them, which is hysterical because they miss being fed. You're missing their pinning ceremonies and graduations. I feel ya. I'm missing them too, actually, and I'm here. You know, and that I put a quote there. You said, chiropractic is our life. I breathe it, I preach it. And I was asking you about Irene, and you said, I love Irene because we have lived the same life, different times, which I love that. That is so great. And you said, Irene loves me back because I cook for her. Which is so great. We both live in Boca Raton. Am I saying that right, or is Boca Raton?
Boca Raton.
Boca Raton, okay. And I'll be 63 in October, and I won't slow down. I'll keep encouraging the kids to be great and never give up. I'll be a sounding board when they need me. And that's why we're here, ladies, right? Because, you know, this can be considered by some people a dark time. And the reason that I started the What Fuels You podcast is to lift people up. So let's not get too heavy right off the bat. What I really want to know, girl to girl to girl, is how you two became friends.
How did we become friends?
Tell them.
I met Irene at Dr. Cordiero's investiture. I always knew about Irene because my husband, of course, took national boards. But I really got to know her after the investiture because she was moving to Boca. I already lived here. We had an IFCO meeting down here where I got to sit with her. And then the rest is history. We started picking her up and going out to eat and just having good talks, really, really good talks. And then we started going shopping together to the farmer's market and continuing to go out to eat and just having board reviews down here. It's just
So the shopping cinched it, right? That was it.
farmer's market cinched it.
Right. But as you started talking, you found you had more and more things in common, you know, not just a love of chiropractic and a love of students, but that you're both from Long Island. You're both from Long Island?
No, she's not
I'm
from
not
Long
from
Island.
Long
Oh,
She's
you're
in
not
New York.
from Long Island. Just from New York. Okay.
I'm born in Manhattan.
Born in
I lived
Manhattan.
in the Bronx.
Fantastic. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness.
She came from an upscale place.
Is that right, Randy?
No, not true. Not true. It's
Compared to where I lived, yes, it was true.
my parents came from the Bronx too, so.
Oh, that's awesome. And so, well, my next question was, what do you like to do together? But I think I already learned that. So there's a lot of shopping and cooking and eating and reminiscing. And
We have a lot in common because we both enjoy anything that has anything to do with chiropractic. While I'm here, there's a lot of chiropractic meetings going on.
okay.
So it's very easy to hook up with all the different people in this area. You can go to a meeting every week if you want to.
Oh, that's so great.
It works out really well.
And shout out to the Florida Chiropractic Society. I know that's one of your favorites, Randy,
Oh
right?
yeah, absolutely.
We have to get to one of those.
Well, I did go to one. I've only been to one of them. I was invited actually to come as a speaker. They wanted me to do license renewal, which I refused to do because
Okay.
I'm not going to teach chiropractors how to do an abdominal exam and a heart exam.
Right.
So that wasn't my thing. So they let me be the speaker for the luncheon. But I
Okay.
could say anything I wanted. So
Oh,
that suited me just fine.
And right now we're going through a project where Irene and I are going through all of her photos and memorabilia between her and Reggie, and we're organizing it actually for Sherman.
oh, that is so great. And I saw you doing that on Facebook, and that's what gave me the idea of doing this double interview. Because I thought, oh, wow, these two powerhouse ladies who are so dynamite and so motivating and uplifting. Scott, I'm losing them. Where'd they go?
It was my way of getting my closet cleaned out.
Oh,
Actually, I didn't know what to do. My stuff was all over the place. Randy said, I'll organize it for you. I said, okay, that sounds like a good idea to me.
I know.
And that's how we got started.
Okay, there it goes. Something just popped up in front of my field of vision. But yeah, I saw you doing this. I saw both of you posting some of these photos, and I thought, wow, this would make a great interview if the two of them would be kind enough to sit together and uplift people. And already I think we're doing that. So thank you.
Well, we did that for Jillian too, for Sherman.
Oh,
We
great.
did an interview together, and that's how
Yeah.
we started pulling out the pictures from Irene's second bedroom. And she was like, they were all over the place in different boxes. And I said, all right, I'll organize them. So that's what we're doing.
So this is so great. So where is this going to end up at Sherman?
Probably something to do with the history, the Sherman Wall that they're dedicating to Dr. Irene and Dr. Reggie.
Oh,
And
fantastic.
Joe D'Onofrio is going to go through it after I'm done going through it, and I'll just scan everything. But when pictures come up that are, 1 in a million that we just have to take a picture of and put it on Facebook so people are interested in what we're doing. It's an amazing history.
It's a teaser. Absolutely.
It might be a teaser, but I have to say this, that when you walk the walk and you go through every part of history that brings you to today, that the reason why Sherman is Sherman,
yeah,
it blows your mind out when you think about what Reggie and Irene have gone through.
Absolutely.
teaching there and being there and helping create Sherman.
Yes,
If it wasn't for them, who knows where it would have been.
it's true. So am I correct in that Sherman College opened up its doors in 1975?
What was that?
1975, Sherman opened up in 1975?
September 1973.
73, okay. And were
I
you,
joined the faculty in 1974.
okay, you joined in 74. Okay,
Yeah.
fantastic. What were you teaching at the time?
Well, I was actually teaching 3 different kinds of anatomy or physiology classes. That's pathology. I ended up teaching a whole lot of different subjects by the time I finished. Diagnosis, osteology, some x-ray stuff. I mean, it was just a little bit of whenever a class came up, we'd have a teacher, I tried to do that. So I collected a lot of really good information as a result of that.
That's fantastic. And were you teaching even prior to becoming a chiropractor?
My degree is in education. That's I graduated from Columbia University in New York. My original degree was a bachelor's in nursing, but then I went on to get my master's degree, and I was working as a school nurse. So as a school nurse, you have to have an education degree. I taught classes in elementary school.
Gotcha.
I did that for 11 years before I ever went to a chiropractic college.
Okay, that makes sense.
So I'm one of the few teachers trained as a teacher, taught as a teacher, and then became a teacher in chiropractic college. Most of your chiropractic college teachers didn't have that kind of background.
That's true. That's true. I'm sure it came in handy. Absolutely. So you've lived a very, let's say, vibrant and colorful life. And Reggie certainly was a very vibrant, colorful, inspiring individual. What is it that causes you to stay fired up and fueled up about chiropractic?
I think I was born that way.
Okay.
I think that just from the very beginning, if I go back to my own history and my whole education, I always looking to do something special, to do something more, this is the way, this is what makes me happy. So what makes me happy is being able to get people to where they want to be, because I was able to get to where I want to be. A lot of people don't ever get there.
I love this.
So I think helping people to make those kind of decisions so that they make the right decisions, go in the right place and do the right thing. I think that's part of what inspires me. And then when they send me letters back and tell me they really are doing what I told them they should be doing. And that's even more inspiring, that they get to do their own thing and get to be their own person. And that's why I like Randi. Because that's what she did. She got to be her own person. She got to do her own thing in her own ways. And if you don't like it, too bad.
It's true.
That's the way I feel too.
Yeah, absolutely true. And Randi, you said this about yourself. You said, I miss guiding the students. But you managed to stay in touch with some of them somehow. How do you do that?
A lot of them. They send me text messages, they call. It's when they did their pinning ceremony, the girls that I taught with the LCW, they all FaceTimed me afterwards. And, so I got to watch the pinning ceremony, of course, on Facebook Live. And I was sitting there in my room crying my eyes out saying, I wish I was there with them. But then they all got together and they FaceTimed me together. So I had about 10 or 15 girls that were just, Mama, we did it. And I was just so proud of them because a lot of these girls, like I said before, I knew prior to even coming to Sherman. I knew the doctors that they worked for. I knew their parents. So when a student comes to me and they say, I need guidance or I need help or I need somebody to talk to, I was there. All the things that Neil and I didn't have when he was going to school. I wanted to give these kids, especially because my 2 kids went through it and they brought home multitudes of people to our house.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I only arrived here in the fall of 2018, but I feel very maternal towards the students. My kids are we're empty nesters and our kids are grown. And yet I'm so drawn and I'm so maternal. It's just my nature to want to be here for them. And I'm reaching out and I'm the first one jumping in on fundraisers. And sometimes I'm establishing the fundraisers for the students and things like that. I feel very maternal towards them and nurturing towards them. So, we started out this conversation talking about how this is a rather depressing time. It's a sad time. I've talked to a lot of people who are just full of sadness and fear. And, we created this podcast to uplift and provoke people. So what would you say to people in general, maybe not even necessarily connected to chiropractic? What would you say to them to want to provoke them, uplift them, help them to pull themselves up by their bootstraps?
I don't know that I have anything to say.
Really?
If you can't figure out for yourself that you're sad and you want to get out of it, you find a way to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go into a sadness and then you're fearful of everything. We have a really good chiropractic understanding. I think this whole coronavirus thing is a hoax anyway. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to let it do anything to me. I'm going to continue to do the things that I want to do. Maybe I'm going to do them more at home than I am outside of the house. But there's no reason whatsoever for anybody to be sad unless they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And you just have to live your life. You can't let fear drive you. You have to be principled in all things that you do, not just some things. But if you're a person that is, a teacher, for instance, or a student, or you have little kids that you're raising, you have to be there for them and you have to protect them and you have to just bring them up.
Yeah, it's true. And I love it. There's a Martin Luther King saying that is the most important question that we can ask ourselves every day is, what have I done for someone else? And I feel like that quote just sums up some of the things that both of you said a little bit ago. And Dr. Gold, you were talking about it makes you feel good that you have helped others along their path and on their way. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, and then they will contact you and thank you afterwards.
And so, an interesting thing, just takes me back to a while ago where I had a very close friend of mine. His wife died, and he became very sad and depressed. And he would call me up and say, how am I going to get out of this depression? What am I supposed to do to get out? And I said, then do something for somebody else. Mm-hmm. Stop thinking about yourself and find something to do to help somebody else. And that's what gets you out of this depression.
Absolutely.
Yeah, my favorite thing is to tell you to serve your way through it. Everybody has gone through this where their offices were either shut down. My kid couldn't practice in Canada. My daughter's practice, really went very, very low in Greenville because they weren't allowed to do so many different things. People were afraid to go out. And yes, people were getting a little nervous, but you have to serve your way through all your difficulties.
Absolutely. So if we were talking to, for example, chiropractic college students, what do you think they could do to serve their way through this time?
Become better at what you're doing. Learn what you're supposed to learn. Go back to your books. Go back to your notes. And whatever you didn't learn there, learn it now. Go ahead and practice all of the things that you need to do. Go ahead and talk to other people about what chiropractic is all about and why they need chiropractic care. Find a way to do it better every day.
I love that.
I used to tell the LCW girls to go out to like nursery schools, preschools, go to women's shelters, go there, and not just to, donate products to them, but donate your time. If you donate your time to them, that's more valuable than giving them anything else.
Of course.
Absolutely. Time more valuable than money. Absolutely. Well, this has been some fantastic advice, really fantastic advice. And I hope that this podcast ends up being far-reaching, far beyond chiropractors, far beyond chiropractic students, that it reaches the public And then it becomes almost contagious that people see why chiropractors are so on fire for chiropractic. You know, what is it about chiropractic? I hope it's inspiring to them, you know. And we know, having been in this profession and around this profession more than 30 years, Irene, you're how many years now in this profession?
62.
62 years, right?
Yeah.
We know that it's so much more than about health, right? And we're just trying to get the public to understand that chiropractic is about health, but we know that it's so much more than about health, that it's about what inspires us, what fuels us right from the core. It's about our very essence, our purpose on the planet, everything. We get more connected to our purpose on the planet when we're adjusted on a regular basis. Very hard to get across to people unless they've been in this profession for decades, as we have. And depression is such a rare thing among people who have gotten adjusted for more than half their lifetimes, you know? And I think that we also have a fantastic history. We've uncovered all the history of the earliest chiropractic hospitals where the documentation was great. And we had something like, what was it, a 60% cure rate for mental illness or something like that. They say nothing on the planet touches that to this day, the way
Well,
chiropractic touched
we
that.
have to really just be careful with our verbiage, though, in order to, especially for chiropractors today, for
Right.
students today, for the offices today. Chiropractic cures nothing,
Exactly.
absolutely nothing. Chiropractic allows your body's innate ability to be at its highest potential.
Right.
And that means that if I cut my finger, I'm not running to the hospital unless my finger's hanging off,
Right.
because my body's going to send that message to my finger to heal.
Right.
So as and I'm not a chiropractor, but as being somebody in chiropractic, with my husband being a chiropractor, my 2 kids are chiropractors, and I'm very, very proud of all my children. But I want them to understand, I want other people, lay people, to understand chiropractic is not a cure-all. There's no cure from chiropractic.
Exactly.
Chiropractic allows your body to work at its own individual highest potential. That's it.
Absolutely. And that was just verbiage that was coming out of the documentation from those earliest chiropractic hospitals, which is such a misnomer that there were chiropractic hospitals, but that's what it was at the turn of the century. So, ladies, this has been really exciting and uplifting and inspiring. And I just would like to know if you have any parting words that you would like to share with people, you know, during this time of COVID. And you gave me some great advice and that I could share with people. And that is basically that we have to just decide to not be sad, right? And that we have to just look around and see where we can be of use to people, get out and help people. To quote you, Randi, serve your way through it, right? To quote you, Dr. Gold, do something for somebody else, right? And this is so in line with the Martin Luther King quote, what have I done for someone else today? He considered that to be the most important question that we could ask someone. What have I done for someone else today? So any parting words that you would like to share with people, a lay person out in the community?
I think we said what we needed to say.
Yeah.
I think you know how we feel about what we need to do for our future. And remember, everybody has to work on themselves to make themselves better. Don't wait for somebody else to make you better.
Thank you.
Do something to help yourself so that you can become the best that you can be for this time.
Absolutely. Don't live in the past, live in the now.
Absolutely.
You can't take what something happened, 50, 60 years ago and make it what it is today. It's not. Our past gives us a history, yes, but we have to live in the now and be focused now to pull ourselves out of whatever it is that we're going through.
Fantastic. Well, it was an honor and privilege to be with both of you today. It was a great blessing. And I'm going to take you up on that invitation, Randi, to come to Florida, coming soon to a neighborhood near you.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you both so much.
We appreciate you for all that you do at Sherman also, Dr. Rosemary. It's really important. I remember meeting you a few years ago before you came up to the school, where I sat with you and Scott at Lyceum, and I was like, this is great. And the next thing I know is that you're coming up to the school. So it was an awesome time.
Well, the
The
best
school
of us.
needs people who care.
That's
Exactly.
good.
Absolutely. And that's what Sherman has always been about.
That's it. They have recruited some wonderful people nowadays, and we are blessed to be rubbing shoulders with Armand Rossi, who, by the way, Dr. Gold said to say hello to you, and rubbing shoulders with Christopher Kent and all of the other faculty here. Absolutely wonderful. And we are blessed to be alongside them and having lunch with them in the lunchroom here at Sherman College. So once again, I'm honored and privileged and blessed that you were able to spend time with us today and uplift us and share with the community what fuels you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.